Hi everybody, it's Tuesday, March 4th, 2008, and I got a real quick one I want to go through. I just had a kind of funny experience on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of you out there can identify with this. I was looking at Rabbi Weiss and his campaign to protest against the treatment of the Palestinians. And I saw a video that was very disparaging of Rabbi Weiss, and it didn't really have any argument, any logical argument against what he was doing. It didn't have any, real defense of the Israeli policy. It just said, oh, he's not really a rabbi, he's stupid, he's talking to all these bad people, and it showed all these Palestinians. Showed him talking to Palestinians, and it just had this atmosphere that was, extremely negative towards Palestinians. And to me, it just had an air of racism about it. Maybe I misconstrued it, but to me, it seemed very racist, and it troubled me to watch it. So I went on, and I left a comment. This might be a little melodramatic, but this is what I said. This video reeks of hate, darkness, and lies. What horrible time we live in. Israel is a state where only one race is allowed to live, and yet opposing it is racist. Israel is a racist state. It doesn't have to be this way. Arabs are not animals any more than black people are animals, or Jews are animals. They are human beings, and they are driven to hate by injustice. Jews and Muslims have lived together in peace for hundreds of years and could do so again if given the chance. Okay, so then somebody replied to me named Kahanezadak. I think that's right. He replied to me and said, "Since when is simply telling the truth equal to hate? You are pathetic but amusing." Yeah, that's the kind of thing you'd expect Dr. Evil to say, but yeah, it's kind of funny. I like it. So I replied back to him. I said, name calling. It never gets old and never fails to trump logic and reason. Bravo. But to address your question, telling the truth is not what these people are doing. They are simply making baseless accusations against a man they disagree with without offering any logical rebuttal of his argument. They also assume that Palestinians, and by extension all Arabs, are not as important as Jewish people and perhaps not even human. That, in my book, is hate. You can call it what you like. Okay, so, maybe I overreacted a little bit to the message of this video, but it just seemed sort of hateful to me. So that's what I said. And he replied back to me and said, "Please do not say that Arabs are not human." Oh, so I said Arabs aren't human now. Okay, so I said, "Believe me, I won't." And he replied back and said, "Arabs are as human as we are. It is a cultural difference, not a biological difference. They just do not value life the way Americans do." Ooh, that's a pretty nice comment, yeah. Okay, yeah, they're human, they just don't value life. And then he replied again and said, "Actually, you did say that Arabs are not human, and the liberal humanistic side of me is upset by that, as opposed to the frosted side or the shredded wheat side. Each culture is different. I know. I have been in the Middle East more than a dozen times and studied Arab society. They are a very traditional and very violent people. But unlike you, I believe that they are human." Okay. So I replied back and I said, "Please don't speak for me. If I want to say something, I'll say it, and I'll own up to it afterwards. I would never say such a thing. Why would I say hateful things about the Palestinians in the midst of advocating treating them fairly? That doesn't make any sense." So he replied back and said, "You wrote, quote, perhaps not even human, end quote, relative to the Arabs. I want you to learn they are human. They are violent humans for cultural reasons, but they are human. Please recognize that both Arabs and Jews are Zionists, are Hebrews, are Semites, are Yehudim. These are all the same, are human. If you learn one thing from me, that is good. If you teach one other person, that is better. So at this point I realized I was not getting through to this guy, so I wrote back and said, I am not your student. Perhaps you should go back and read the rest of the sentence. But why am I telling you this? You're only trying to make me look bad. You know what I said, and you know exactly what I meant, and you aren't fooling anybody. And even if you did, I really don't care. My conscience is clear regarding the Palestinians, and their culture is not violent, by the way. They are at war. That is the reason for the violence. So he wrote back and said, as long as you no longer state that Arabs are not human, I do not care if you consider yourself my student or not. I have won one for humanity. My conscience is always clear because I consider all people humans. You obviously have never lived in the Middle East. Their culture is very violent. That has nothing to do with politics. That is simply the Arab mentality. Wow. I mean, that is, I don't know about you, but that's pretty funny to me. I mean, I can't believe that conversation. That's the most, bizarre thing. It's like we were arguing the whole time about what I thought. Not what I thought as opposed to what he thought, but we were arguing about my own words that are right up here. Let's see, what was the first thing I said? Arabs are not animals. Okay. Jews and Muslims have lived together in peace for hundreds of years and could do so again if given the chance. And then later on I said, they also assume, not me, also assume that Palestinians, and by extension all Arabs, are not as important as Jewish people and perhaps not even human. That, in my book, is hate. Okay, so, Kahanezadek, if you disagree with me, that's fine. But apparently I disagree with me too. So, thanks a lot for bringing my own views to light. I never knew I felt this way. I didn't realize that I was so disparaging towards those poor, violent, horrible, horrible people. But thank you for letting me know. And that's it. Y'all have a good one.